Okay, since electric vehicles have become a hot ticket in the automotive industry in recent years, there's been some pretty big debates between consumers and experts alike. Is owning an EV cheaper than a gas-powered car over the life of the car? Or is going with the gas model still better for your wallet in today's day and age? The EV boys are definitely gonna tell you that the fuel savings make up for the higher sticker price of electric cars, while the other team internal combustion, says that, well, initial prices as well as the depreciation make gas-powered a better buy. But when you really dive headfirst into answering this question, is it cheaper to drive a gas or an electric car? Well, there are quite a few things to consider, and it definitely can get a little bit complicated. That's why I'm gonna break it down for you in this vid, and by the end, hopefully you'll have a better idea of whether a gas or electric car is better for your bank account. And if you're new here, my name's Danger, and this is Ideal. So hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell because we got a whole lot more content coming at you. And this is electric versus gas cars, and which one is the cheaper and better option. Let's go. The first thing that we have to look into when comparing gas-powered cars to EVs is how much it's going to cost you to drive one off the lot. Yeah, essentially the sticker price. And since EVs are still a relatively new arrival to the market, well, actually not really. EVs were around before 1900. I mean, can you believe that? Yeah, I mean, if you wanna know more, check out this Ideal vid on the history of electric cars, which is on our other channel, Ideal Cars. But I think that we all know that EVs haven't really become widely popular until the last few years. So like any new technology, it's only natural that they should be more expensive. The average sticker price on an electric vehicle is an average of $19,000 more than the sticker price of a gas-powered vehicle. However, our friend Uncle Sam has something to say about that. If you've ever looked into getting an EV, you've probably heard about this federal tax credit for EVs and plug-in hybrids. And what all this basically is the feds are offering $7,500 in tax credits to anyone who buys an electric vehicle or plug-in hybrid, but only if you owe $7,500 or more in taxes that year. If you owe, say, $5,000 in taxes, that's how big of a credit you're gonna get. No, unfortunately, they're not gonna be sending you that $2,500 cash, but it's still something to consider. And that tax credit has also phased out for Tesla and General Motors models. So if you're looking at getting a Model S or a Hummer EV, don't expect any help from the White House. The qualifying rules also get a little bit fuzzier for plug-in hybrids. But in terms of EVs, you can expect the full $7,500 if your tax liability is equal to or greater than that. All right, so when we compare the costs of driving an EV off the lot, we have to include the tax credit because that obviously is going to have a big effect on how much you really are going to pay for it. So now let's do a little comparison. Let's say that you go to the dealer and you get yourself a 2021 Mini Cooper hardtop. You're gonna be looking at around $23,400 for MSRP. Now, if we look at the exact same car, but now electric, that Mini is gonna cost you roughly $29,900. But remember, you get that tax credit in full. So that brings down the adjusted price to just $22,400, which is actually cheaper than the gas variant. Now, another example, a 2021 gas-powered Hyundai Kona will run you $20,300 MSRP, while the exact same Hyundai, which rhymes with Sunday, Kona Electric has an MSRP of a whopping $37,190. But remember, the tax credit, you added in and you're still looking at $26,690, over $6,000 more than the gas-powered version. Now, the difference in the sticker price between gas and electric cars has a lot to do with the fact that EVs are generally more luxury-minded these days, and they're marketed towards higher income individuals. So as EV technology gets lower in cost to make and more available to the general public, well, the price gap will probably shrink. But today, it seems as if EVs are still more expensive to purchase up front. But sticker price isn't the only factor that affects which is cheaper. Let's take a look at a sneaky expense that I think everybody hates paying. It's called maintenance. Now, in terms of the general car market, it seems that EVs are a whole lot cheaper to maintain than their gas-powered counterparts. And it kind of makes sense if you think about it. No oil needs to be changed, no tricky engines that are going to need repairing. There are just far fewer components that can wear down. Overall, EV motors are just simpler than internal combustion engines. And so the cost to maintain them are generally a lot lower. Of course, in the case of a Tesla, having your motor repaired could take weeks or even months. And that happens more often than it should. So you might want to factor in the cost of renting a car for 2 months while your Tesla is at the shop if you're doing your own cost analysis. But for the purpose of this cost analysis in this video, let's ignore that because, well, EVs are getting better every single day. And instead, I just want to look at the average maintenance cost per mile for the same vehicle we were just looking at. And to do this, we're going to use AAA's Your Driving Cost tool to figure out these average costs. And by the way, this is a great resource if you want to compare the cost of ownership for cars that you're looking at buying. So for the Mini Cooper hardtop, the maintenance cost per mile was about 8.5 cents, while the Mini Electric was about 6.6 cents per mile. For the Hyundai Kona, you're looking at 9.1 cents per mile, while the electric variant was also about 6.6 cents per mile. If you were to drive any of these cars for 3 years, assuming you drive 45,000 miles over those 3 years, you'd save about $855 driving the Mini Electric over the gas-powered. And for the Hyundai, you'd roughly save $1,125 driving the Kona Electric over the gas-sippin' Kona. But of course, the main difference between the gas and the electric version of these cars is the kind of fuel that they consume. So let's look at the cost comparison of what each kind of car would take to power for 3 years. Now, you probably already know what to expect here. The EVs are cheaper to fuel. Of course, they are. They're electric, and it's way cheaper than gas. But by just how much? Well, never thought you'd ask. Let's take a look. Using the average gas prices nationally, as well as the average per kilowatt price of charging an EV at home around February 2020, we calculated that it would be roughly $2,500 cheaper to run a Mini Electric for 45,000 miles. And that's when comparing it to the gas-powered Mini. In terms of the Kona, the electric variant would save you about $1,900 over those same 3 years and 45,000 miles. And you should consider, however, the EV charging costs vary heavily between different states in the US. Let's say you live in Louisiana. You'd be expecting to pay roughly 9 cents per kilowatt. In Hawaii though, that cost is going to be as high as 32 cents per kilowatt. Oh, and if you're looking into buying an EV, check out what your state's electricity costs are before you even make that decision, because that can have a drastic effect on how much your cost of ownership is over the life of the car. And while that pretty much covers what it's going to cost you to buy and run an EV versus a gas-powered car for 3 years, we also have to take into consideration, well, what it will be worth when you go to sell it. And so how do they compare in terms of depreciation? And while EVs pretty clearly cost less to run while you own it, they also seem to depreciate more heavily than their gasoline counterparts. So what's up with that? Well, the truth is, it has a lot to do with the new technology in EVs, which a lot of people think will be replaced by later and greater technology in the near future. But it has even more to do with those federal tax credits. See, since people are basically deducting up to $7,500 from the sticker price on a brand new EV, the basis for depreciation is already $7,500 higher than it really should be. A $30,000 MSRP EV's depreciation should really be calculated from the basis of $22,500, taking that $7,500 tax credit into account, because essentially that is what you paid for it brand new. So while we estimate that the Mini Electric would depreciate about $5,000 more over 3 years, and the Kona Electric about $1,500 over 3 years, if you factor in the tax credit, the electric variants actually lost less of the initial amount if you were to compare both of them buying them new. So let's get down to it. Which is actually cheaper, gas or electric? And you know, after our side-by-side comparison, it seems like EVs are definitely cheaper to own these days. And yes, that has a ton to do with those federal tax credits. $7,500 is no small amount of money. And when you pile those savings on top of what you're going to save in maintenance, fuel costs, and depreciation over the life of your EV, you're looking at a big chunk of change. Yeah, like not lint out of your pocket, actual real money. However, if you're looking to buy an EV from Tesla or General Motors, just remember no tax credit for you. And will going out and buying a used Tesla Roadster be cheaper than buying a comparable sports car and running it with good old dead dinosaurs? And essentially the old Tesla Roadster is like a Lotus Elise. So what would a mid-2000s Elise cost you in maintenance per year, and what would a Roadster? So I challenge you to do your own comparison and see what you find. And I hate to say it because I'm a big car guy, but after doing this comparison, I think we know that the real winner, at least for an appliance car, you know, something gets from point A to point B, is an electric vehicle. And so, what is your favorite electric car, truck, or SUV either out there now or on the horizon? You know, something like a Tesla Model S or a Hummer EV, or maybe even one of those cool new Rivians. Drop us a comment below and let us know. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. And if you hit the dislike button, then your phone was probably just turned over. Also, if you're new here, my name's Danger, this is Ideal Money. Please subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and definitely check out our other channel, Ideal Cars, if you like car videos. And as always, keep living the ideal lifestyle.